This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, good morning. So let's continue our discussion about service virtualization. In last session, I told you three different cases, right? Three different cases of service virtualization. The first case is URL virtualization, where in our OSB service, we don't have a new WSDL, we don't have a new contract. We will reuse the business service contract, but we will make sure the URL, the endpoint of the OSB service will be different than our existing target service, right? This is the URL virtualization we implemented in the previous session. Now let me talk about case 2. Case 2 is a data virtualization. Of course, we are going with a new OSB service, so here also the URL will change. Here, along with URL, we also modify the contract. I mean, we can have a different contract in case 2 in our OSB service. Okay, comparatively our target service Intel processor manufacturing system, it has its own WSDL and request response contracts, request response XSDs. In my OSB service, I want to build an OSB service which uses a different WSDL. Let me show you that. Suppose if you see this IPMS business service WSDL, this is our target service WSDL. Our target service WSDL. This guy is importing the XSD. This guy is importing XSD. If you let me open the XSD document. So in the XSD document, if you see, this is order request and order acknowledgement. This is order request and this is order acknowledgement. This is the structure of our target web service, input and output structure. Let me put it into the other side. So now what I want to show you, I want to show you the WSDL which I am going to use in my OSB service. I will use this WSDL. I will use this WSDL for to generate the OSB program. Here, if you see the request and response, this is the request I want to use, and this is the response I am expecting to generate in my OSB program. Okay, OSB order request, OSB order response. Okay, and there is a little bit change. See this order ID, first name, last name, processor model, quantity. So here in the target side, we have customer full name. We don't have first name, last name. We have customer full name. That means when you receive this input in OSB program, when you receive this input format in OSB program, this format of XML in OSB program, you need to concatenate first name and last name to generate the customer full name, correct? To generate the customer full name. This is what you need to do, a data transformation in the request flow. Before calling the target service, you need to perform this transformation. Okay, if you see the response structure, so response is expecting order reference number, order ID, customer full name, and status. Okay, that's it. These are the four fields our OSB program is expecting. But in the target program response contains many fields. So of course you can map only the required fields. Suppose order reference number, order ID, okay, order reference number, order ID, and customer full name, of course customer full name, and status. See, first three fields you need to map from source to target. So in the response transformation, source is your business service, target is your proxy service response, correct? And the status field, four fields. We are expecting only four fields. We just map the four fields, nothing else. Okay, so this is the data transformation I am expecting. This is nothing new for you. We already did this kind of examples, right? We did transformations before calling the business service. We did transformation after calling the business service as well. So we did few examples, but as part of service virtualization, I just want to show you once again. Okay, so let me create a new proxy service. Before do anything, just close every file. So here, what I want to do, IPMS case 2. Let me browse it. So I want to create one new proxy file, one new pipeline along with the proxy. The proxy file, I'm going to use this WSDL. I have a WSDL handy with me. I will share the document with you all in the shared folder. Okay, so this is the WSDL I want to use in my OSB project. Let the JDeveloper load the OSB project. It's killing our time every day. Let it load. Okay, we got new option and then proxy service. Okay, I want to name it as IPMS underscore case 2. Okay, case 2. And this is case 2 underscore pipeline. Of course, let me browse the WSDL. So this is not the business service WSDL. In the previous session, while generating the proxy, we reused the business service WSDL, correct? But today I'm not reusing the business service WSDL. I want to utilize a new WSDL. So new WSDL, either you can build the new WSDL, or you can, if you have a WSDL handy, you can browse the WSDL. Just to save the time, I'm not building the WSDL. I'm just using the WSDL. Okay, I'm just browsing an existing WSDL. I will share the WSDL with you. As I told you, I will share the WSDL with you in the shared drive. Okay, so once we browse the WSDL, it's very simple. We need to build one proxy file. We need to build one pipeline. Both two files will be generated, and then I'm going to reuse the business service. See, I'm not generating the business service again, because in OSB we can reuse the documents. Okay. Anyway, let me go to file system. It's on my desktop. Let me browse the WSDL. Okay, this is my OSB service WSDL, IPMS interface underscore ps.WSDL. Okay, and I will import this into my WSDLs folder. WSDLs folder, done, finish. So once the configuration is done, you can complete this wizard as well. Of course, if you want to change the endpoint, you have all rights to change the endpoint. Finish. Okay, now let me move the pipeline file to the pipeline folder. Before I move the pipeline file to pipeline folder, observe, guys, you need to make sure and close all the files. Okay, so let me move this to pipeline folder. This is all the regular practice what we do in all the examples. Done. Now go to case 2 pipeline. So here I want to communicate with a business service. Before calling the business service, before calling we need a transformation file, and after calling we need a transformation file. Okay, so that's what we already did, this kind of use case. So how to invoke a target service? We can use either service callout, or you can use a routing action. Anything is fine. One of the action you can use. Let me use the routing action. uh, I will insert an action routing. I don't want to complex this. I mean, I want to simply close this example because we saw multiple examples before this in the same pattern. Okay, let me browse the WSDL, browse the business service, not WSDL. I want to call a business service. I'm just calling the business service and select the operation. See, in the previous pipeline file, we reused business service WSDL in the proxy as well. Okay, so here I used use inbound operation for outbound, but in the current example I'm not doing that. I have to select the business service operation. Okay, I selected the business service operation, and now I need to configure two transformation files. One is request transformation and another is response transformation. Let me do that. So this is IPMS, okay, OSB request to IPMS request. Okay, OSB request to IPMS request. Let's browse the source. I just give some name here. I will say source. This is user defined keyword, guys. You can give any name for this parameter, input parameter in X query file. So let's browse the XSD. It's in my WSDL, right? Service virtualization. Go to WSDL, IPMS proxy WSDL. So here you can see the OSB order request. Done. I browse my source. Now let me browse my target. Target is IPMS business service WSDL. Here you can see imported XSDs order request. Okay, done. So this is OSB order, source is OSB order request, target is order request. Done. So this is what, see, this is the source format, OSB order request. This is the target format, order request. Okay, a simple mapping with a concat logic. Let's do that. So we got the request and response format here. Let's copy the data from source to target, order ID, and then customer full name we'll do at the end. Processor model, you can select the processor model. Done. Sorry, it is mapped wrong mapping. Okay, now processor model, done, and then quantity. Okay, and we want full name, right? Customer full name. For this, you can build an expression that is concat logic. Okay, you can build an expression here. You can use a function. I will search for the function concat. I will search for the function. Is it showing the function? See here, I search for the function. There is a function called concat. Just simply drag drop here in the expression panel. This is the expression panel for xquery. Just release the function, and you can see argument 1 and argument 2. Okay, the first argument. What is my first argument? You can get the argument expressions from here. My first argument is first name, and the second argument is second name. I mean last name. Second argument is last name. So I want to concat these two fields. Okay, and the data we want to concat, right? Let's make it text function. We want to concat text function. The plain data, I don't want to concat the element, so I just place the text function. Done. So we got the first name and last name. This will be concatenated. Okay, if you want, you can I mean you can give spaces or something, any special, any strings you can concat here. Okay, this is fine. Let me commit this. See guys, when you build an expression, you need to commit this one. This is the icon, commit icon. Just click on the commit icon, your mapping will be committed. Save everything. So this is the request transformation. Similarly, we want a response transformation as well, right? Let me build a response transformation. This time it is IPMS to OSB response. Okay, IPMS to OSB response. Let me select the source and browse the XSD. So this time the source is IPMS. IPMS response XSD will be the source. IPMS response XSD. That is order acknowledgement. This is the source, and we need to select the target. Let's browse the target. Target XSD is your IPMS proxy service WSDL response schema. OSB order acknowledgement. OSB order acknowledgement. Done. Right. So now we got a new transformation file. You build the required mappings, order reference number and order ID. Okay, customer full name. We got the customer full name here, and then status. Copy the status field. Done. It's a simple mapping. Okay. Right. So our request transformation is ready. Response transformation is ready. Now we need to make the replace action. We need to configure the replace action. Here the transformation is between proxy input variable. So we need request transformation. Request transformation. Okay. So for this variables, what are the variables? We need proxy input variable to business service input variable. Okay, here proxy input variable is nothing but body. Business service input variable also body, because we are using routing action. Routing action uses body variable as invoke input variable, body variable as invoke output variable. So this is the request transformation. Now if you see the response transformation, Here we use business service response variable to proxy response variable. Correct? So business service response variable is nothing but body variable as invoke output variable. Correct? Proxy output variable is nothing but your process output variable, your OSB process output variable. So we are using body in 4 different flavors here. 4 different flavors. Proxy input variable, body variable as proxy input variable, body variable as proxy output variable, body variable as business service input variable, body variable as business service output variable. Total 4 different flavors we are using the body variable. We already discussed this use case. Anyway, I'm just iterating it. Let me execute the transformation file by using replace action because of this. See, the source variable is body variable, target variable is body variable. When you want to override the data in an existing variable, I mean, there is a variable with data, you want to override the data, then you need to go for replace action. Okay, let me execute a replace action here. Replace action. So configure, browse the xquery transformation file. xquery transformation file. Okay, so this is OSB request to IPMS resp. The naming convention is wrong. What is the transformation we built? IPMS to OSB response. Okay, OSB request to. Fine, this is fine. Let me browse the xquery resource. Okay, OSB request to IPMS. This is the convention, wrong convention, right? OSB request to IPMS request. It should be our IPMS request. Anyway, I'm just selecting it, but make sure while you are creating the transformation, provide a proper naming convention, because we are doing the transformation between OSB request to IPMS request. I just made a mistake here while providing the name. Okay. Anyway, you can rename the document if you want. Done. And the source variable is our body variable. Body variable as proxy input variable. Body variable as proxy input variable. This is the one. Okay, this is the structure, OSB order request. This is the request to our transformation. Done. And now go to the target. Target variable is body variable. I want to use body variable as my target variable. Body variable already holds input data, input XML. So I want to replace that. I want to replace the root node content of the root node. I want to replace the content of the root node. That's it. So request transformation, execution of request transformation we can do with replace action. Similarly, I want to configure a replace action to execute the response transformation. Let me browse the response transformation file, which is IPMS response to OSB response. Okay, done. IPMS to OSB response. And here the source is in this transformation, response transformation, right? In the response transformation, business service response variable is the source. Business service response variable means this is the response variable. This is a response structure, body variable with this XML structure. Here order acknowledgement is the root element. Okay, let me go to JDeveloper. Let me go to JDeveloper. Here you cannot get that structure because this body variable will show you pipeline input, pipeline output, but not business service input variable and business service output variable. You cannot see that. So what you need to do, $body, you need to type it manually, $body slash. So what is your element? Order acknowledgement is my element, right? Order acknowledgement, provide the order acknowledgement. So you should provide the qualifier as well. Before you provide the qualifier, you need to configure the namespace. I mean, your XSD's target namespace, you need to configure in your OSB program. So this is the XSD target namespace. This is the XSD target namespace. Okay, this one you need to configure in your program. Let me copy the target namespace of this XSD. Okay, copy the target namespace of this XSD and go to namespace tab. Here you copy it. I will URI is this name, target namespace of XSD. I will give something here, BS, BS. Okay, prefix qualifier is BS. Done. So you can see that this is the namespace configuration we did. So the qualifier for this element is BS. Done. So we need to build this, guys. We need to build this. We don't get it in the ready-made structure. We don't get it. Okay. Here you can see only body variable as pipeline input variable, pipeline output variable. That's it. Two different flavors. You are not able to see body variable as business service input variable, body variable as business service output variable. You don't see here. Okay. Say okay. Done. Right. So target is again body variable. This time body is the pipeline output variable. I want to override the data because our body variable already contains business service response XML. I want to replace the root element node content. Okay, done. That's it. So you can deploy the program and test the program. So once the deployment completed, we can test this. Of course, you can use your SOAP UI or directly you can test it in service bus. Anything is fine. Okay, let me go to service bus console. Is the deployment completed? Where is the log window? Okay, in the log window, yeah, it is saying as per log window deployment finished. So you can go to service bus console. This is the service bus console. Once refresh it, okay, you can see service virtualization practice. Go to IPMS2, IPMS2, IPMS case 2, case 2. This is data virtualization, right? Let's test this program. Okay, so this is the request. I will give order ID and the full name Sony, not full name, first name and last name, right? Sony car, let's say. Okay, processor model, I want to buy i3 processor, 100 quantity. Okay, this is the request. And see, I'm testing the proxy service. If you test the proxy service, you don't get the trace. Let me execute it. Let's see first we are getting the response or not. If you test the pipeline, you can see the trace as well. See here we receive the response. So what is the response here? We got the OSB order acknowledgement. Okay, right. Just for, I mean, you want to, if you see any mistakes or if it is not as expected, you want to debug something, I always suggest to go for pipeline file, because in the pipeline file we get the trace. We get the trace. At least, I mean, it's not exactly same as your SOA trace, SOA instance, but at least you have some information what is going on in the program. So you received what you received as input, what routing action executed, what routing is doing. You can see some data here. Okay, so you are sending, see, this is the OSB request. This is the OSB request in body variable. Okay, but this is transformed data order request, IPMS input format. Okay, so you can see some information what happened in your program, what finally body variable contains. Okay, so this way you can see some information. This will help you to debug if anything is not as expected, if the response is not as expected, or if you receive some wrong data. This will help you to debug the flow. Okay, right. So there are other ways as well. We can configure logs, alerts. I will show you. But at least this is the immediate action of place of action. We can debug the flow and identify if something wrong. Okay, right. So this is how we need to perform data virtualization. So input data format is different. Input data format is different, and the actual target is expecting a different data format. We can transform the data and send the data to target application. Okay, this is not a new thing. Concept wise, it's a new concept, but we already implemented this example in our previous projects as well, right? Done. Let me stop this. Now go to the third use case. What is the third use case? Third use case is URL virtualization. Sorry, protocol virtualization. That means um, our target system is using SOAP web service, right? It is a SOAP web service, but I don't want to share my SOAP web service. I mean, my it can be different reasons, guys. Maybe the source system is not ready to consume SOAP web service. SOAP system is expecting a different protocol. It may happen, right? So every system may not support all formats of communication. So different systems experts, different transport communication. Okay, transport layer. So in our example here, let's assume the third case, my source system is a HP system, which is not compatible to SOAP web service. They are asking, give me a different protocol instead of SOAP protocol. So what we can do, we can build a HTTP service that is nothing but our REST service. Okay, REST service we can build here, right? So when you build a REST service, it can be get web, post web. You have the option to choose different verbs you can choose, right? So let me build a HTTP service in OSB program. As of now, in all our previous examples, we worked with SOAP web services. But now I want to show you HTTP service, or you can also call it as REST service. Okay. So here I will show you HTTP web service with XML as request data, XML as response data. Of course, guys, it's not just limited to, I mean, in OSB, we have two options. Number one, like SOA, you can use adapters. Like SOA, you can also use adapters here. Okay. See, there are so many adapters. If you see here, there are so many adapters. So you can use SOA. We use the REST adapter, right, which supports XML format and JSON format of request and response data. Similarly, in OSB as well, you can use adapters directly. Same configuration. There is nothing new. You just drag drop the adapter, configure the REST adapter. Okay, that is one approach. But in OSB, we have existing feature. I mean, these adapters are enhanced by Oracle. OSB acquired by Oracle from Ecologic company, right? So after OSB product acquired by Oracle, they enhanced these adapters, some of the adapters. Okay, but this is not the original feature of OSB. OSB, they have their own feature, their own transport protocol features. Okay, so without using adapter, how we can do this? I will show you that option. Okay, I don't want to go for adapters. I want to build a REST service or HTTP service. Let me do that. I will configure a proxy file. This time I will name it as IPMS underscore case 3. Okay. And I don't want to go for WSDL. As of now, every example we browse the WSDL, right? I don't want to go for WSDL. There is an option called transport. This is not on, this is a common feature, guys. I mean, instead of using adapters, you can use different protocols here. Suppose you want to use a JMS service. Either you can configure JMS adapter or you can configure JMS protocol. Anything is fine. Okay, JMS protocol is the original feature of OSB. JMS adapter is an enhanced feature by Oracle. Okay, so in our current example, I want to go for HTTP protocol. I don't want to go for WSDL. If you go for WSDL, that's a SOAP protocol. Okay, now I'm just selecting HTTP protocol. Not only HTTP, guys, these are all the different protocols supported by your OSB program without using adapters. Okay, suppose if you select JMS, so whatever you can do with JMS queues and topics, you can also do everything with your JMS transport protocol. Okay, you can also use, suppose, file adapter. Instead of file adapter, we have something called file protocol. Instead of FTP adapter, we have something called FTP adapter. Okay, see, these are all the different protocols we have which we can use instead of adapters. Okay, Right, let me go to HTTP. Let me stick my discussion to HTTP protocol or REST service. Okay, simply click next. Case 3, IPMS case 3 pipeline. This time we are building protocol virtualization. That means our target service is SOAP protocol. Current OSB program is a REST service or HTTP service, you can say. Click next. So once you click next, so here we have multiple options, guys. So when you are building a REST service or a HTTP service, there are two different options, any XML or message. So here message means I want to restrict my service input structure and output structure. I want to restrict my service input structure and output structure. See this, my service input structure is XML, output structure also XML. I'm just restricting. Okay. Suppose if your input structure is something else, you can select the other option as well. Anyway, I will show you XML. So when you said your input is XML, there must be an XSD. Okay, let me browse the XSD which is already in our service. In our OSB project, we have a XSD, right? Where is it? Under schemas folder, you can see the XSD. Let me browse it from here. Service virtualization. We already have an XSD. We built it for our OSB program. You can see OSB program. Sorry, business service. Business service has an XSD, right? I'm just using that. Order request. Okay, and this is order response. I'm just reusing the XSDs, our business service XSDs. Okay, so if you do this, what happened? You are going to build a REST service. You are going to build a REST service or HTTP service, and we are restricting the input and output formats. Only this format of input I want to process. Only this format of output I want to generate. Okay, this is the input. This is the input, and this is the output. Okay, suppose there are cases I don't want to limit my OSB service with a specific format, then what you can do, you can go for any XML. If you go for any XML, what happened? It will accept any kind of format. There is no validation or something. It will accept the XML as input. Internally, you need to make sure your business logic should support that XML. Okay, so you must have more cautious when you are doing this any XML format. I mean, I will tell you one example. Suppose when you go for any XML, let's say I have an order XML, I have a student record. Okay, this way, let's assume I have two different formats of XMLs. Once my OSB program accept the input, I have to write a logic in my OSB program, something like if the input XML is order XML, I mean, I want to write a condition. If input XML is order XML, execute some logic. Else if input XML is equal to student XML, execute some logic. So I need to write a business logic in my proxy service. I mean, in my pipeline program. Okay, if you want to go such logic, if you want to do something like that, then go for any XML. Otherwise, you must go to specific format. I mean, what format of input, what format of output you want to accept. Okay, right. So anyway, let me, you can try that. I mean, I just show you one example, right? You can try different options here. Done. Say okay and finish. So now this is a REST service, guys. This is not your SOAP service. This is a REST service. Let's move the pipeline to the other folder. Pipeline folder. I will move the pipeline document into pipeline folder. Done. Let's configure the logic. I want to go for routing. A simple routing is enough for me because my input format, OSB input format and business service input format are same. Business service output format and OSB output format also same. So I don't need to do any transformations here. I don't want to execute any transformation here. Simply deploy the program. Did I select the operation? Yeah, operation is selected. So simply deploy the program. Okay, now go to your OSB console. Okay, go and test your case 3, IPMS case 3. This is a REST service, guys. This is a REST service. Okay, and you can give some request format. Oh, sorry, this is not the request format. This is the request format, order request. This is a REST service. Maybe you don't get the feel of REST service when you are testing it from service bus test console. You can test it. You can test it from SOAP UI. Let's do that. Okay, before that, let me complete this testing. Okay, we got the response. See, this is not a SOAP service. Observe here. This is a REST service. There is no SOAP protocol at all. You can see the direct request and response. Of course, if you want to test it from SOAP UI, yes, you can do. Get the endpoint first. Get the endpoint. This is the proxy service. Case 3 proxy service. Get the endpoint. Okay. Go to SOAP UI. You can test your services from SOAP UI, right? Go to REST project. This is a REST project. http://localhost endpoint. No need to give question mark WSDL. Okay, say okay. Once you click OK button, you get a REST project. See, this is the REST project. It's always suggestible. First, rename the project with meaningful keyword. I will give it as IPMS underscore case 3. Okay, done. And guys, what is this? Let me go to. I need to show you something here. Okay, we configured the REST service, right? So there is an option here. HTTP service. See, this is the protocol HTTP which we configured. Transport. I'm expecting a property. What is it? Okay, let me check this here. Of course, you can see the same options here and there. It must be a method somewhere. Yeah, this is the one. HTTP method. So it is not asking HTTP method. Let me see. Let me provide some data here. 1001 customer full name, Dell Car, processor model i3. This is the quantity. Okay, let me give my method. We'll see what it is doing. If I say post method, okay, execute. We got the response. We got the response. Let me check the get method. Is it really checking the method or not? Let me cross check that. It's not considering the method at all. Okay, in that case, go to your program, give any method, post or get, give any method. So here you can provide your input data. So our input is XML format. See, our input is XML format. Okay, so here you need to provide the input data. I will use this data. I just copy the data. Okay, or you can build it manually. You can type it, not an issue. Okay, now let's submit this. And just see, make sure when you are testing it from SOAP UI, you need to select the media type. Whether your input format is JSON, select JSON. Input format is XML, select application/XML. Okay, submit the request. Let's see the response. So our response, we are expecting response in XML format. Okay, see, this is the, if you go to XML tab, I mean, if your response is JSON response, you can go to JSON tab. This is only limited to your SOAP UI, guys. It's not SOA. This is limited to SOAP UI. So go to XML tab, you can see the XML response. This is how you can test your REST service. I mean, HTTP service also you can test without using your REST adapter or HTTP adapter. Okay. So see, this is HTTP protocol, case 3. Okay. So this makes the change. Otherwise, suppose you are not interested with this, what you want, you can configure your REST adapter exactly like your SOA service, right? In SOA, we discussed about REST adapter configuration, what is a get verb, post verb, all this stuff we discussed it, right? So you can do all these things. Suppose you want to process JSON, REST adapter is the option to process the JSON. By default, by default, HTTP protocol don't have the option to process JSON. When I said processing JSON, try to understand here, your protocol, HTTP protocol, it will accept any data, guys. I mean, it can accept XML, it can accept any format. But if you want to convert JSON into XML format by default, like your SOA, then you have to go for REST adapter. REST adapter has an inbuilt feature. Input is JSON, but your pipeline or your BPEL process will receive the XML format of data, not JSON format of data. This REST adapter has that ability. But if you go for protocol, HTTP protocol, this protocol don't have that option. It accepts any format of input. Once the input is XML format, XML goes to pipeline. If input is JSON format, JSON goes to pipeline. Okay, it won't convert. JSON will not be converted as XML. So at that time, what you can do, there are options, there are actions, different actions. Let me, there are different actions. See this, NXST translation. Only this is native format. This is JSON translator I'm expecting. Reach, assign, insert, Java, validate. No, the actions are not ready. Okay, I'm expecting an action here. In OSB 12c, there is a feature called we can convert JSON format into XML format. These actions are not loading in my JDeveloper. I need to restart. Maybe I will show you in the next session or sometime. Okay, so with that, what we can do, we can convert our JSON format into XML format. In previous versions, this is 12c, right? In previous versions, 11G, people used Java coding. Okay, they used, we have an action called Java embed action in OSB. Okay, by using Java embed action, we need to write some Java code. Okay, see this Java callout. In Java callout, what they did, they accept the JSON as a request, and that JSON will be converted into XML format and then start processing the XML. That is how we need to do if you want to go for HTTP protocol. That's a complex process where previous versions we do. But now we directly have REST adapter. We no need to use, I mean, I'm just introducing this protocol to you, but it's not mandatory you have to use this protocol. You simply go to REST adapter and that simplifies everything for you. You can accept JSON as input, you can accept XML as input. It's completely in your control. You no need to complicate the process. But I just want to tell you, in the previous versions, we don't have this adapter capability. At that time, what people will do, people are doing configuring HTTP protocol, which can accept any kind of data, either JSON or XML. Once it receives the data, that will be converted into XML by using Java callout. That's nothing but Java coding. You need to write some Java code and convert your JSON into XML format. Then the regular process we execute. Okay, so but today we don't need to do that. It's a old traditional, I mean old approach. Today we go with REST adapter, simply go with REST adapter, and which supports either JSON or XML. Okay, so that's it for today about REST service. So any questions, guys? Let me stop the recording.